Today we are reading from Canto 4, chapter 28. Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. Text 34 through 44. Text 34. Just as the moonshine follows the moon at night, immediately after King Malayadwaja departed for Kulachala, his devoted wife, whose eyes were very enchanting, followed him, giving up all homely happiness despite family and children. Text 35-36. In the province of Kulachala, there were rivers named Chandravasa, Tamraparni, and Vatodaka. King Malaya Dwaja used to go to these pious rivers regularly and take his bath there. Thus he purified himself externally and internally. He took his bath and ate bulbs, seeds, leaves, flowers, roots, fruits, and grasses, and drank water. In this way, he underwent severe austerities. Eventually, he became very skinny. Text 37. Through austerity, King Malayadwaja, in body and mind, gradually became equal to the dualities of cold and heat, happiness and distress, wind and rain, hunger and thirst, the pleasant and the unpleasant. In this way, he conquered all relativities. Text 38. By worshipping, executing austerities, and following the regulative principles, King Malayadwaja conquered his senses, his life, and his consciousness. Thus, he fixed everything on the central point of the Supreme Brahman, Krishna. Text 39. In this way, he stayed immovable in one place for 100 years by the calculation of the demigods. After this time, he developed more pure devotional attraction for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and remained fixed in that position. Text 40. Kim Malaya Dwaja attained perfect knowledge by being able to distinguish the supersoul from the individual soul. The individual soul is localized, whereas the supersoul is all pervasive. He became perfect in knowledge that the material body is not the soul, but that the soul is the witness of the material body. Text 41. In this way, King Malaya Dwaja attained perfect knowledge because in his pure state, he was directly instructed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By means of such enlightening, transcendental knowledge, he could understand everything from all angles. To King
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Since both together, there were no need for separate interests. Hare Krishna Prabhu?
Yeah, could you repeat 42 onwards, Mataji?
42?
Yeah, we couldn't hear you for a few seconds.
Okay.
Thank
Text 42. Text 42. King Malaya Dwaja could thus observe that the supersoul was sitting by his side, and that he, as the individual soul, was sitting by the side of the supersoul. Since both were together, there was no need for separate interests. Thus, he ceased from such activities. Text 43. The daughter of King Vidarbha accepted her husband all in all as the supreme. She gave up all sensual enjoyment and in complete renunciation followed the principles of her husband, who was so advanced. Thus, she remained engaged in his service. Text 44. The daughter of King Vidarbha wore old garments, and she was lean and thin because of her vows of austerity. Since she did not arrange her hair, it became entangled and twisted in locks. Although she remained always near her husband, she was as silent and unagitated as the flame of an undisturbed fire. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So let me stop sharing so I can. Okay, we'll start with brief prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Sharakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनीति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay. Lots of nice lessons from this section of the Srimad Bhagavatam for us. We're in Canto 4, chapter 28. The chapter is titled Puranjana becomes a woman in the next life. And just some context, we know this conversation is happening between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. Of course, that conversation is being relayed by, maybe if you go all the way to the beginning, Sutta Goswami is talking the sales of Nami Saranya. And Sudha Goswami is relating what he heard from Sukadeva Goswami. So Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. And they are talking about what Maitreya Muni and Vidura are talking. And Maitreya Muni, while speaking to Vidura, is explaining what Narada Muni is talking to Prachinabari. This is called conversation within a conversation within a conversation like that. Finally, what we can remember at least is Narada Muni is speaking to Prachinabari king, who had sons, Prachetas, who left for doing austerities to produce children. So we heard that Narada Muni, instead of telling directly to Prachinabari, he started with allegory. That is what is going on for few chapters now. It is almost ending in one more chapter, I think. This chapter or next chapter it will close out. So this is a long chapter. And then next chapter, Narada Muni will more elaborate the what he meant by different things in the allegory like that. So, Narada Muni is explaining the story of Puranjana. And we heard in the last few chapters, I'm very, very highly summarizing it. In the last few chapters, we heard how Puranjana was derailed by doing sense gratification for some time and also karma kanda for some time. And then he was so much attached to his wife, we heard. And in the end of this last chapter and beginning of this chapter, we're hearing how because of his attachment to his wife, at the end of his life, when the death actually came, that time he was still remembering wife only, not Krishna, which is our goal, but remembering wife only. Because he was remembering life only, next life he became woman also, we heard. So now, in the last few verses of this chapter, we heard how, as a Vaidarbhi, the woman he became, Puranjana became, she got married to a wonderful king by name Malayadvaja, we heard. And she now Malayadvaja spent time with her, and Malayadvaja gave his kingdom to his sons after they became properly trained, and then he left for the forest. So let me see where are we at 34, I think, right? 34. Yeah. So the previous verse was talking about previous couple of verses were talking about how Malayadwaja left the kingdom and then he went to forest like that. So now what happened when he went to the forest and what did he do? How did he achieve perfection? All that is described in this section that we are discussing today. Basically, King Malayadwaja, how did he achieve perfection? Very broadly. And then how why that be his wife served him to achieve perfection. Those are the essential themes of this section. But there are beautiful several themes coming up in between. But I'll give something for you to focus on. Focus on two things. What are the essential elements for us to advance in spiritual life? That's one common theme we can focus on while listening to this section. And second thing is, uh, what is the how a disciple should serve a spiritual master? Because in this particular section, King Malayadwaja is representing a spiritual master for her wife, and then the wife is representing a disciple. So we can also see from that angle, as Prabhupada elaborates in the purport, how disciples should serve a spiritual master. Okay, the two common themes we can focus on. And then later verses, we'll actually see how does this disciple deal with the loss of spiritual master also in the next section coming up also. But for now, we'll focus on Maledwaja, what happened after he left the forest, what happened, we'll see. So 34th verse. When Maledwaja left for the forest, this is called also Vanaprastha in Vedic ashramas, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas ashram, right? So after Grihastha ashram, he took Vanaprastha ashram. So that Vanaprastha ashram, when he left for the forest, then his devoted wife, who is Vaidarbi, she also, she is described as very beautiful, whose eyes were very enchanting, is described. She also followed him, giving up all homely happiness, despite family and children. This is an important point. So basically, she did not see, oh, I'm so happy at home, let me stay at home only. Why take the trouble to go with the husband to the forest and serve him like that? She did not think like that. She thought, my duty is to serve the husband, so let me go. So Prabhupada parallels that with two themes in the purport. One is a disciple should be eager to serve the spiritual master. So always understanding that when we serve the spiritual master, we can advance in Krishna consciousness nicely. How? Because of the mercy of the spiritual master. Prabhupada also quotes from the morning Mangalarti verse we speak. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada yasya prasadan nagati kutopi jayanstu manastasya yasasti sandhyam vande guru sri charnaravinda. In that verse, yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada. That means by serving the spiritual master, we by pleasing spiritual master, all will get the mercy of the Krishna, or the Supreme Lord. And if you don't please spiritual master, we don't get the mercy of Krishna like that. That is the essence meaning of the verse. So when we understand that, and when we keep pleasing the spiritual master, the highest focus of our life, then we'll progress very nicely in spiritual life. That is one theme Prabhupada is explaining to us, so we can learn and advance nicely. So now, how do we take when somebody does not have a spiritual master yet? Let us say I did not decide my spiritual master yet. I did not get initiation yet. I am not aspiring for a particular spiritual master yet. Then how am I supposed to take these instructions where Prabhupada is giving? For all of us, we start with our founder Acharya of ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada as the spiritual master till we find a living spiritual master currently. Yeah. So then we take Prabhupada's instructions that is giving in the purports as our spiritual master instructions. Prabhupada is the preeminent Siksha Guru for all of us. Spiritual master doesn't mean only Diksha Guru, the one who gives initiation. It also means Siksha Guru, the one who we take instructions from. So, understanding that, we take Srila Prabhupada as a Siksha Guru and learn from him and try to please him. How do we try to please him? By following his instructions. That's how we can take these instructions. Okay, now other thing Prabhupada talks about in the purport is, so when we are ready to serve, when we are working on serving spiritual master and pleasing spiritual master, by serving spiritual master through different ways, then we should not uh, be so much attached to how can I be happy in a family, how can I be happy with friends like that. So it doesn't mean that we should not take care of the family, but the highest goal is to serve Krishna and spiritual master, and towards service as Krishna, towards service to Krishna, we can serve our family, friends, and society like that. Because Krishna will be pleased when you serve our family, but Krishna will not be pleased. We are only serving family and we don't do any devotion service. Yeah. So that is very is important to understand what is the higher goal. Higher goal is serving spiritual master, serving Krishna and pleasing him. And within that included is all other services we are doing to the family, society, friends like that. When we understand like that, then we can engage in life properly at a right level of attention and devotion. We can establish for Krishna also in our life. That is a couple of lessons we can learn from 34th verse purport from Prabhupada's instructions. Going to next verse, 35th verse. So, what did Maledwaja king do when he went to the forest? That's what is being described in the next couple of verses. That means how did he engage in austerities? How did he engage in the worship? Like that is being described. The 35th verse is described. There were pious rivers nearby, it seems. So he used to take bath in the rivers regularly, and that helped him to purify externally and internally also. Prabhupada commonly writes, externally we get purified by taking bath regularly, especially twice a day at least. Yeah, and then internally we purify by chanting the holy name Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the means of internal purification for all of us. So we carefully maintain external cleanliness. In fact, this external cleanliness, by taking care of our body, by taking care of our surroundings to be clean, it helps us in chanting nicely also. That means that helps us in internal cleanliness, which is happening through chanting. So that means both are related, not like, oh, I don't need to take care of external cleanliness, I need to take care of internal cleanliness like that. We don't need to think like that. Both are related and both are symbiotic also. That means both support each other. By chanting nicely, we feel like we want to keep ourselves clean externally in terms of body and externally in terms of surroundings also. Because mode of goodness is increasing. And similarly, when we clean our body nicely and keep our surroundings clean nicely, then we can focus on the holy name chanting also. So both support each other. That's the beauty of process of bhakti. It's not independent of everything, is not independent of our bhakti process. So then, what did he do? He ate whatever was available in the forest without having to cook food, struggle to find how to put the fire, how to cook and then eat like that, instead of spending all the time like that. He ate whatever was available in the forest, like bulbs, seeds, leaves, flowers, roots, fruits, grasses, and drank water, it's described. So he did severe austerities and he became very, very skinny, is described. Now, Prabhupada interestingly focuses on one aspect in the purport for all of our benefit. What is the one aspect? Prabhupada writes, I'll read the first sentence of the purport. He says, we can definitely see that to advance in Krishna consciousness, one must control his bodily weight. If one becomes too fat, it is to be assumed that is not advancing spiritually. The idea, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura severely criticized his fat disciples. The idea is that one who intends to advance in Krishna consciousness must not eat very much. So, there are several instructions Prabhupada gives in the purport. So, but I will summarize them and we can take these instructions to apply at our level currently. Because Maharaj, King Maledwaja was very, very advanced. So he could handle this much level of austerity. And you could handle with whatever little food that is available and eat it and sustain. But I am not at that level. So I need to practice at my level. Understanding that I need to progress to that level someday. Okay. So we don't need to be anxious to get to that level immediately tomorrow. But we can practice at our level nicely, balancedly, step by step, incrementally. So how do we take these instructions of Prabhupada? So Prabhupada is essentially saying that sense gratification is not the goal of life. That means too much eating, too much sleeping. We're not just living for eating. We're not just living for sleeping. Our main purpose of living is to achieve the higher purpose of life, to serve Krishna, to please Krishna, to grow in our relationship with Krishna. That's the underlying principle we need to remember. Then the rest of the details can be easily arranged when we remember that principle. With that principle, Prabhupada is explaining the purport that what is the first thing that Krishna describes in Bhagavatam to Arjuna? We are not this body, but we are a spirit soul. So now we need to practice with the understanding that I am a spirit soul and this is my body is external to me. We need to practice our spiritual life like that. So it means we'll cultivate that realization like that. How do we cultivate that realization? We need to remember, like for example, this is a computer. For a computer, we regularly maintain it. How do we maintain it? We do a virus scan regularly, we clean the space regularly, and then we do some maintenance regularly. Like that, we keep the computer clean. So that way we can use the computer, right? So computer is a tool for us to do certain things that we want to do, to gain knowledge, to attend classes, whatever that purpose is to be. So computer is just a tool for that purpose. Yeah. Similarly, our body is described as a machine. Yantarudaya, like Bhagavata, Krishna describes, our body is like a machine. Body is like a tool for us. For what purpose? To achieve Krishna consciousness. So with that understanding, we use the body as a tool. Not like I am the body, so I take care of body, 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 body. Not that mood. We utilize the body to practice Krishna consciousness. That is the mood we carry. So what does that mean? That means we take care of the body nicely. Body needs nice food, nutritious food to keep us healthy. Body needs sufficient rest. Body needs sufficient exercise. So we take care of all of this nicely also. But we don't waste all our 24 hours in this only. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and doing exercise. That only. Not that. We allocate time for spiritual life. So we take care of the body in such a way that it supports spiritual life, not inhibits spiritual life. That's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. Meaning, if I eat too much or too unhealthy foods or don't do exercise, then what happens? I become fat. When I become fat, laziness is a side effect of becoming fat. Prabhupada is writing in the purport. Number one. Number two side effect Prabhupada writes in the purport is when I become too fat, when there's more fat in the body, then I get more sleep because body needs more sleep. That's what Prabhupada is writing in the purport. So then naturally, if I become lazy, I cannot do much Krishna consciousness. If I do too much sleep, also I cannot do much Krishna consciousness. So that's why Prabhupada is emphasizing that don't eat too much. Eat sufficiently whatever is required for maintaining health, but don't eat too much, like that is saying. So that is when we understand the principle, when we understand the rationale, then when we are in the proper paradigm that I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul, I maintain the body nicely so that I can practice Krishna consciousness. When we understand these principles, then we can easily practice the details, which is I understand what is healthy for the body and eat that only, like that. Of course, there is always, I'm speaking like this, but I'm also struggling with this myself. So even though I know that this all-purpose flour is not good for health, still I take some like that. But we practice to our level best, understanding that the higher goal is to keep the body healthy so I can practice Krishna consciousness. Hope that makes sense to all of you. So now another principle Prabhupada writes in the purport, which is very important. In Nectar of Instruction also, he elaborates on this. So let us say I'm not able to control what I'm able to eat right now. So the first principle we need to apply in our life is, I want to eat only prasadam first. That's where I start. Then, even if it's prasadam, I eat more for now. But with the understanding that as I grow in my spirituality, as I improve my chanting, as I improve my hearing, as I improve my devotion service, naturally I will get the ability to control my eating also. So I focus on increasing my devotional service. That is my main focus. And then I eat only prasadam first. And then slowly, as my devotional consciousness improves, then I naturally will reduce my eating. Not to the extent that I cannot live. Taking out from overeating to a right level of eating. That's what I mean. Yeah. So that's the other principle we can learn. So that way we can practice spiritual life without getting dejected, without getting disappointed. Oh, I'm fat now. What can I do? What can I do? No. Right now, I should eat only prasadam. That's the main principle we need to learn. And then I need to focus on my devotion service. When we do these two things, naturally we get the strength to eat whatever is required only. Yeah, that is the focus we need to make. So 36 verses important purport. Please read because Prabhupada's words are very powerful. So we get a lot of inspiration from Prabhupada. Going to 37th verse. Now, through these austerities, uh, he- King Maledwaja went to higher stages of devotion service. Because he went to higher stages of devotion service, he could tolerate all the dualities. What kind of dualities? Dualities related to body, related to mind, related to intelligence, related to false ego also. So, for example, dualities related to body are cold, too much heat. He was able to tolerate. We may not be able to do that right now. It's okay. We focus on devotion service. Understand that as I grow, my tolerance will increase like that. Number one, body level. And mind level, he could tolerate the happiness and distress that is coming currently. Some enjoyment will come, some suffering will come. So he is able to tolerate that. Similarly, at the false ego level, honor and dishonor, somebody will say, "Oh, Prabhu, you're so wonderful," one day. So then we tolerate that. We do not think, "Oh my God, I'm great. I'm the greatest." Don't become proud like that. That is what is called tolerating honor. And then tolerating dishonor. This means, "Oh, Prabhu, you are useless fellow. You don't know this, you don't know that, you don't know that, you don't know this." That is dishonor. We need to learn to tolerate that also. Because when somebody says you are useless in this, you are useless in this, then our false ego gets hurt. So that tolerance we need to slowly develop. But as we grow in bhakti, naturally this tolerance will come. Until now, if somebody doesn't look at us properly, we'll feel bad. If somebody says some small word, we'll feel bad. But as we grow in bhakti, we can tolerate it. We don't mind so much. If somebody criticizes us, somebody is telling us we don't do this, we don't do this, we don't do that in service, we don't mind. Yes, correct. I can improve my service more, like that we'll say. Instead of thinking, why is he saying like that? Actually, they don't do service like this. I do a lot of service compared to them. Instead of thinking like that, our paradigm shifts. Yes, I'm actually doing very little service for Krishna. I can do more. They're telling the right. Even though they're pointing some wrong things in my currently, they're seeing one wrong thing. But actually, if you see properly, I'm not able to do so many services. Like that, we'll see positively also. So that strength he got by doing bhakti. That is the principle we need to get here from here. So through bhakti yoga, we'll get the strength to control our senses and also to control, to develop tolerance like that. Now going to 38th verse. So oh, by continuing the worship like this, by continuing doing extreme austerities and following the regulative principles, King Malayadwaja conquered his senses. See, the important principle here. Not that first you need to control senses, then only you can do bhakti. Not like that. First you do bhakti nicely, that helps you to control senses. That is the principle we are learning here. So then, because he could control his senses, now he could perfectly fix his consciousness on Krishna. Not like the other way around, that I do this perfectly, I do this perfectly, then I can do chanting nicely. I do chanting, I do hearing, I do practice bhakti, then I can control my senses. Naturally, I will remember Krishna more. I'll be able to fix my mind on Krishna more. I'll be able to chant more attentively like that. And we need to start with some endeavor. With some endeavor comes perfection. Not that we'll start the endeavor only with perfection. We cannot happen. That cannot happen. Whatever we are able to do, we do that endeavor first. Then that will lead to perfection. Yeah, that's what we can learn from this example. So Prabhupada also writes in this purport that this word Brahman is used in this verse. And somebody may think Supreme Brahman means it's only impersonal Brahma Jyoti. But Prabhupada is indicating, it is indicating Krishna directly like that. Because Brahman word has many meanings depending on the context. Brahman also means Atma also, like that. So Atma, Paramatma or Bhagavan also it can mean, depending on the context. So Prabhupada is explaining, is worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan feature of the Lord, Krishna. In the 39th verse, mm, oh, he performed austerities for a long time. Thousand celestials is described. Like 100 years by the calculation of demigods, like that. Very, very long time. So what we can learn from this is bhakti is for there for a long haul. Long haul means like Patanjali also says in Patanjali Yoga, sadhana means we perform devotional service every day without fail. Anudinam, number one. Number two, we do it with aspiration to serve Krishna, aspiration to achieve Krishna Prema with a result. And then we do it for a long time. So when we fix our mind that I need to do it for sufficient long time, then we'll develop patience that it's okay, I need to do it for a long time. Then only result will come. When we understand that, we can continue with patience for a long time and doing it every day or sadhana. What a fixed number of rounds we need to chant, whatever we need to hear, read, doing puja, everything we can do for a long time like that. So that's what we can learn from this verse, that even for great person like King Maladwaja, he had to do for a long time. So we also do it for a long time and with the confidence that a result will come for sure. Because all these devotees we are hearing in Bhagavatam, they're achieving success just by practicing bhakti. So we can also achieve success by practicing bhakti. Uh, how are we achieving that success? Because Krishna gives the mercy. When he sees that we're trying, he'll make it little easy. Then we try more, then we'll make it little bit more easy. Then we try more, it'll make it little bit more easy. So all it starts with our trying only. That's what we remember. Then Krishna will give mercy and make it easy for us. So now text 40. He says, Maladwaja, by practicing bhakti like this nicely, he attained perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge of what? Soul, super soul, and this body, and how they are different from each other. So I understood, I'm a spirit soul, I'm different from body. Number one. So remember, even though we told in the earlier section that we need to remember that we are not this body, we are spirit soul, we theoretically remember currently, but the actual relation comes in advanced stages of bhakti. That we need to understand. So that way we don't beat ourselves. Oh my God, I'm still thinking of body and then I'm eating too much. That is bound to happen now. But as we grow in bhakti, we get to perfect realization. I am Atma, I am not different from this body. This body is just a tool for me to execute bhakti like that. Number one. Number two, we also understood I'm Atma, I'm different from super soul sitting next to me. So I'm not the same as super soul, like some Mayavadis think. I'm different from super soul. I'm meant to serve the Supreme Lord like that. That realization also he got in advanced stage of bhakti. Going to the next verse, 41st verse. So, how did he attain that knowledge, perfect knowledge? By the mercy of Krishna. Because Krishna gave that intelligence internally to him. Prabhupada quotes the verse, Tesham sadatam yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam ena mam upayantite dadami buddhi yogam tam. When somebody sincerely, seriously practices bhakti, I give them the intelligence uh, so that with that intelligence they can come to me. That's the meaning of those verses. Prabhupada is elaborating in this purport very nice points. What kind of intelligence Krishna gives in the practice stage of bhakti, like a sadhaka like me, he gives intelligence to say, okay, go to this spiritual master, go to this devotee and inquire from him, ask him guidance. So then, by approaching a bona fide spiritual master for guidance, then we get the mercy of a spiritual master and guidance of a spiritual master. Through that, we can know how to go back to Krishna, number one. And then by following the instructions of spiritual master, by serving the spiritual master, by practicing bhakti nicely, when you go to the advanced stage of bhakti called Raganuga Bhakti, at that time Krishna will instruct directly within inside like that. Not right now. At that time like that is described. So that is why right now we focus on instructions of spiritual master. And as we grow in bhakti, Krishna will instruct from within like that. That is the point Prabhupada is highlighting in the purport. So 42nd verse. So now this is elaborating that how he was only thinking about Krishna, Krishna's interest. He doesn't have separate interest of enjoying this way, enjoying that way like that. So Prabhupada's writing, that means such a devotee will see everything around, not as a material thing for my enjoyment. Everything as how can I engage this in service of Krishna like that. He has the intelligence, he has that vision, and he has that aspiration. I want to serve Krishna with everything that I have in my life. So that's how he is able to do that. That's the highest perfection. But we're practicing little by little right now. When we learn these things, One important principle I'll share with you. When we learn that highly advanced devotees are able to do that, then we don't beat ourselves up. I'm not able to do that. I'm still want to enjoy this. I still want to enjoy this. I still want to serve like this. So some is for my enjoyment, some is for my service to Krishna. That is there right now. It's okay. It's understandable. That we'll get the knowledge. Then we slowly grow to less things for enjoyment, more things for service like that. Like that will grow as bhakti grows like that. Now last verse for today, text 44. Now from this verse onwards, we're learning from why there be how the wife served the king Maledvaja husband. So from that example, we're learning how a disciple's mood should be and disciple's activities should be to serve the spiritual master. That's what we're learning from this verse onwards. So this is the first verse. I'll introduce this topic, and the next topic you'll hear more how a disciple needs to serve the spiritual master. Yeah. So in this verse, why there be what you should do? She wore old garments, it seems. She was lean and thin because of her austerities. She was doing austerities and she did not arrange her hair because she doesn't want to look so beautiful for everybody and became entangled and twisted in locks. She was always near her husband. She was as silent and unagitated as the flame of an undisturbed fire. So, Prabhupada writes in the purport three common themes actually, three main themes. One is he talks about how husband and wife should follow the regulative principles of bhakti. What are the regulative principles of bhakti for us? Chanting our rounds regularly, fixed number of rounds regularly, following the four regulative principles we have, and serving Vaishnavas whenever we get opportunity, serving Krishna in whatever ways we can, serving Krishna by helping others to come closer to Krishna somehow or other. These are all regulative principles that are given to us. In fact, Rupa Goswami gives in Nectar of Devotion or Bhakti Rasam Sindhu 64 limbs of bhakti. So those are all regulative principles we need to follow. So husband and wife follow that. So their focus is practicing bhakti, not focus on how to improve more and more luxury in my life, how to make it more and more comfortable in my life. That's not the focus. That is one thing Prabhupada is talking about. Second thing Prabhupada is talking about is at the later stage of Grihastha life, we need to take up Vanaprastha life. At that stage, we need to improve the austerity one more notch. Not just not having luxury, but we need to improve austerities one more notch. At that stage, when you are 50 years old or 55 years old like that, then we improve the austerities by one more notch and focus on austerities instead of more and more pleasure at that time like that is describing. So, and then Prabhupada writes, in one plus stage, there is no question of sex life between husband and wife, like that it describes. So that's the last verse for today. We'll hear more about the mood of a disciple towards spiritual master, the activities of a disciple towards spiritual master in coming verses tomorrow. I think Sri Krishna Prabhu will share with us. Yeah, we'll pause here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you so much, devotees. Hare Krishna.